Meat eaters, they have short intestines. We don't have the upper body, we do not have the thoughts, we don't have none of these things. Like this is what we're supposed to eat. If you look in nature, every animal is eating monogenetic food. They're eating one thing at a time. The monkey is not eating a banana and a peanut. It never does this. The cow is not eating grass and drinking wine. Everything is eating one thing at a time. But these are concepts we've lost or whatever. So we think, oh, I have to eat this, I have to eat this, I have to eat this. Everything in nature, if you watch it, if you take a baby cat, a baby rat, a baby snake, even at this level when they're sick, they don't even run to their mom, hey mom, I'm sick. Right within their DNA is a knowing on how to heal themselves. I just spoke in Canada to 4,000 doctors. I'm like, how many of you would disagree with this? No one can disagree because these are small things. That's why I call my theory common sense medicine. Because no one can argue. If you argue, it means something is wrong. All we just have to do is observe. When a baby dog, a baby snake, a baby rat is sick, they do not go to anyone, they go to nature's pharmacy. They're not even asking the permission of their mother. So what happened to the human race? What happened to us? When did we forget all these things? These are the million-dollar question. There's food for rats, there's food for cats, there's food for raccoons, there's food for snakes. What is the food for humans? Throughout, growing up and speaking, in front of big, smart, what we call educated people, very few of them have answered this question. When you ask most people, what is the food for humans? No one can answer. But the food for humans, we just have to look at our anatomy. That the things we're not designed to eat. The reason why we're all sick, we're struggling with different elements is because we're not eating that which the Creator designed us to eat. Every single thing we know is because we've been indoctrinated, we've been taught, we've been educated. Do this, this is how you have to do. But very few of us were looking at nature. When animals are sick within nature or whatever, they dig the earth. Anyone who spent time in the jungle or you've had a ranch, you can see they dig the earth, they lay there. They start barking. If they bark, if they make noise, they stop or whatever. They lay there. They stop eating. They have their eyes closed. They're doing a process called grounding. This is how animals lay. To eat while you are sick, you're committing suicide. Animals do not eat while they're sick. Never. If you ever, in the ranch, if you had a ranch, if you had wild animals. I grew up having lions and tigers as pets. I saw the behaviors of this animal. But the most important thing is that when you take even a cat, you take a dog, some of these animals which are not normally like vegetarians or whatever, is that when they're sick, they normally go outside and eat grass. They go to nature's pharmacy. And so my grandfather says the word nurture comes from the term nature. Who want to nurture themselves, they must go to nature all the time. And the beautiful thing about it is that they do not have to walk 10 miles. They do not even have to walk a few steps. They just go outside the house. They know this medicine. My grandfather said the mercy of God is that if everyone here has blood pressure, all the grass that grows around this neighborhood will be for blood pressure. This is the mercy of God. When the clouds become dirty and polluted, guess what? God allows it to rain. Nature heals itself through a process called purging or whatever. When the animals, they're sick or whatever, you see they eat and then they throw up. This is where when you go back or whatever, if you just go back even 15 years ago, most of the medicine that they threw out the indigenous culture was what you call animals, colonics, or whatever. They knew that food and water, they were the only external thing you put internal, and that whatever was going on within your body that was causing disease, which simply means the body not at ease, that is what you ate. So they needed to remove that out of the body or whatever. And this is how you're able to heal. If you said, oh, my eyes were hurting, I was having back pain, my stomach was hurting, they gave you colonics everywhere. This is what indigenous cultures, but this whole concept has been forgotten because you do not need any doctor, to do a pump, to give an animal or whatever. So they've given us complex things. We've been to the moon, we've gone to space, we've done all these amazing inventions, some of us PhDs or whatever. The one thing we spend our whole bodies with, our bodies, but we know nothing about. We've been to space, invented so many inventions, or I'm an educated person, and this and that. But when we're sick, we have to go to someone else. So the question my grandfather always asked the people, are we smarter than animals, or animals are smarter than us? What happened to us? These are the questions. Until we begin to ask these questions, then we'll never ever find peace. But we must always go back to nature. Always remember, grandfather said, nature It's nurture. If we want to nurture ourselves, we must go back to nature. No animal is going to a human pharmacy or whatever. If you look in nature, there's nothing that is white in nature. We forget. So if they give you something that is white or whatever, you begin to ask, where is this coming from? There's nothing or whatever. If you're taking a pill that is white, you begin to ask, where is this coming from? There's no animal running towards all these things. They're not. You know? And so even the animals that eat meat or whatever, people do not eat meat because they love to eat meat. We had an event where I had some doctors that were invited to our event, and I had some few friends that were like, oh, we're meat eaters. So I told my wife, like, no problem. We went to the farm, we got 5 chickens, we brought them alive. So when it was time to eat, it was over 2,000 people, and I it was a vegan potluck, and I brought the chickens alive, and people were like, oh my God, Dr. Kang, why this? I'm like, hey, you eat meat, eat it. We eat the meat because of the seasoning. No one is eating raw meat. All of these things are trained behaviors. No one eats raw meat. Even the people say, oh, I'm a meat eater. You're not a meat eater. You've just been trained. When a baby is born and you put a chicken and then you put an avocado or you put a mango, the first thing they reach out to is the mango. This is nature. This is design. It is embedded in us. When a baby is born, you put it by its mom's breast, it grabs it, starts sucking it. This kind of intelligence has no opposite. This is the kind of knowing we must go back to. It's constantly looking at nature. How is nature doing everything that it does? Until we become open to this kind of knowledge, then we begin to self-destruct. A lot of us, we're feeding even our children, and they're like, oh, I'm lactose intolerant, and we're giving it. No animal in nature is drinking another's milk. None. No order. You don't see a chameleon going to drink a snake's milk. You don't see a chicken going to drink a dog's milk. Yeah, you don't see a chameleon going to drink a dog's milk. This kind of stuff is never happening in nature. Only us. And so people be like, oh, a cow's milk giving this little baby. Cows can weigh up to tons and tons, like 5,000 tons. A baby can only up to maybe 200-300 grow up to that size. And the equilibrium really is not there. That you take this small mammal and feed it this monster animal's milk or whatever. The equilibrium is not there. That's why in drinks age you see, a lot of the kids, they're blowing up, they're developing up very quick or whatever. And so sometimes the more people even eat these things, they start looking like some of these things. They say you eat an elephant, you become an elephant. Why would anyone want to be, an elephant? Why would anyone want to even be a chicken? So these are the things, or whatever, we must begin to pay attention. Like what happened to the human race? What has happened to us? That despite all of the advancement, all of the levels we've gotten to, it's almost like we've actually literally regressed because we're not understanding what nature is doing. Nature is the best teacher. My grandfather always said, if you want balance, you must always go back to nature to begin to understand this concept. Anyone have any question? Yes?
I was just going to mention that I guess we know this instinctively because if we go back a generation or two, we probably have grandparents that knew natural remedies.
Yes.
So instinctively, I think we know this, but like you said, we've kind of grown away from it with convenience. So if we go back to what we inherently know.
One of the things that we know as we look at our history, we understand that the reason we survived plantation slavery was because we started eating the greens that grew around our house. Other people thought they were just shrubs.
Yeah.
We started eating the greens. Another reason we survived plantation slavery is we took the peanut and we ate the peanut, and we also boiled the peanut. So we knew how to eat the whole peanut. Greens, when you boil the greens, they start out real big and they go real small.
Yes.
But the key part of the green is not the flour, it's the juice. It's called the roux, or or what Winston would call the pot liquor.
That's right.
The pot liquor is where all the main ingredients are. And then we made something else which allowed us to survive. We made cornbread. In the morning we made pancakes. In the afternoon we ate whole cakes in the field. In the evening we ate cornbread, hot water cornbread, which is cooked on top of the stove.
Yes.
But it was the cornbread, the peanuts, the greens, and the watermelon that allowed us to continue to grow healthy and strong. Remember in our history here in America, when the slave owners wanted to have their children fed, they went and got the black woman to feed them. And they weren't feeding the black woman what they were eating in the slave house, in the master's house. She was eating what she ate in the field. So we know in our history, we already known that we've been able to survive and grow stronger by once again reconnecting to nature. And one of the things we point out in class, there are 3 fundamental pillars of traditional African culture. It's a correct relationship with the Creator, a correct relationship with nature, and a correct relationship with community, that's with other people. And so we have put together these technologies, whether we call it laughter, poetry, dance, education, to help us connect with each other. We put together technologies to help us connect with nature, and we put together technologies to help us connect to the Creator, prayer, meditation, yoga, all these good things. So this is part of our history and it's part of who we are. And so today we're just reconnecting to that which we already are.
Yeah, beautiful. And so one thing I noticed, also just being in nature, my grandfather always said someone would come, if they had a bald head or if they had a stroke, and my grandfather would take the people, like, hey, come on, let me show you people. You see that place? Nothing is growing. There's drought there. It's the same thing that's happening in their bodies. Like the way you fix a drought is the way you fix a bald head. How many of you ever seen your animal wearing glasses? How many of you ever seen the animals going to the grocery stores, with a basket? How many of you? How many of you ever seen any animal bald? Okay, so a lot of the things or whatever were just taken upon. So my grandfather said the way you fix that problem in nature is the way you fix the human body. So if there's drought, how will you fix it? Or whatever, it's because there's no minerals and there's no water or whatever. So grandfather always called baldness, he said, is a chronic dehydration. Years of these people shortchanging themselves of the amount of water. There's a certain amount. You do not have to take a baby cat and be like, hey, you drink water 3 times a day. You do this much. We've been so conditioned. When the body is thirsty, it will ask for whatever. We've been so programmed. Even when the body is hungry, it will ask. But I always tell people, if you've never done any fasting, it's hard to really understand, the hunger pain. It's hard to understand hunger pain from, either thirst pain. Because when you start doing fasting, like 2, 3, 4 days, you start beginning to understand, okay, I see this particular pain is for me to drink water, this particular pain is for me to drink, to eat food. But even if you see a lot of our food right now that we eat, even a lot of medicine or whatever, it's because it's very, very hydrating. It's very, very dehydrating. So a lot of us or whatever, we do not know, especially the kidneys or whatever, it runs off fluid. And a lot of the food we're eating or whatever, they have very little amount of water. And a lot of the medicine we're taking or whatever also have a little amount of water. That's why a lot of people, they're going on dialysis, their kidneys are being burned out because they're not constantly, hydrating their body, efficiently. And one thing, that I'm gonna touch is about, like being a shaman. People will always ask, like, what are shamans in Africa? Shamans used to be what you call like the catalyst, the middle people between God and the people. So if there was some kind of like injustice or whatever, someone stole or someone killed or robbed, they came to a shaman or whatever. He did some certain kind of practice, went into the spirit world to see. I remember one time, we had a big, festival celebrating the death of my great-grandparents. And every year when they do this festivals or whatever, a lot of people come from Europe. And, but in the palace that my grandfather has, whatever, he plays different diamonds in different places. If you remove one, he can be almost a mile away, he can feel that something is not right. And so one of the guys or whatever from, I think, Australia, he took one of the diamonds. I've never seen a diamond that big. He took the diamond and put it in his pocket. And my grandfather was like, oh, something is off or whatever. Just imagine we had like 400 people in our compound, during the celebration. They're like, oh, someone took the diamond. We need to put it back because the energy is off. He could feel it. And so everyone said, oh, I didn't take it. So he's like, everyone gathered. They gathered, he did some stuff. He had the broom. He'd be like, hey, everyone lick it. And people were licking it. And the guy who had the diamond in his pocket licked it and shook, fell down, the diamond came out of his pocket. And these are the kinds of things why, they're talking about, oh, Africa, the witchcraft, because the European feared it, because the result were instant. I saw growing up even in the village that a lot of the things, like if someone stole, someone killed someone, or whatever, in 3 days, if you do not own up, you're gonna die. I remember one of one of our neighbors or whatever, he went to the farm and he had an argument with this woman, and they ended up chopping the lady's leg, chopping off the lady's neck, and they found the body a few days or whatever. So they came, they did the burial or whatever. They said, well, whoever did this need to come up. So he didn't own up or whatever. So they called my grandfather at the funeral. They did some things or whatever. They buried the lady with a sword. This was a practice that they did. This is why there wasn't a lot of violence in Africa, because you could not commit a crime and get away with it. So they buried the lady with a sword or whatever, and after 3 days or whatever, everyone knew, because this lady came out of her grave and went to this man and chopped her, into pieces. Everyone like, oh, okay, so he's the one that did it. So yes, so stuff like this always happen or whatever. I remember, they were saying there were a group of the European people that came to buy some of my grandfather after my grandfather died, artifact or whatever, some of the stuff that he left for me, and my grandfather gave clear instructions that this stuff should not leave Africa. So the people that took it or whatever, and I'm serious, the plane will not, the bottom of the stuff, the engine will not start or whatever. So they put it all off or whatever, the plane started. When they put it back, it will not start or whatever. But you know what? They decided to take it and put it in a car or whatever and drove off. And drove off with it. They were going to take it by boat. Do you know within every 2 weeks or whatever, the husband died. Every 2 weeks, the wife died. The kids, one of the kids died. They had a total of 3 kids or whatever. And then the other one got it, like, okay, we need to. So they called me. They're like, oh my God, blah, 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 we need to bring this stuff back, but we need the money. I said, well, they told you people already. Like my uncle, he've already spent the money, like, you just have to take it back or whatever. But these are the kinds of things. This is why a big connotation was put, oh, witchcraft is evil, is bad, is this or whatever. It's just because when you understand, ancestor, just like the brother was saying, we didn't make this chair. Some person, we must give them. They're still here, despite this body might be destroyed, which is just a suit or whatever, meat suit or whatever, but the spirit, it never dies. We're never born, so we never die. And a lot of people do not understand. And so when you came to a shaman, when people were born and they got to an age of maybe like 7, 8, a shaman literally sat you down and said, hey, your previous life you used to be a cat, you used to be this, you used to be this, you used to be this. In this lifetime, this is all what you need to do. You need to pay, because everything was kind of like power versus force. It was almost like a credit system, either your credit or your debitor or whatever. And so the shaman will also explain to you where you'll be going your next life. And the reason why everyone now in modern world is so scared to die, because they don't understand where they're going. A lot of people, they don't want to leave their purpose because they're scared someone's going to come kill them. But if you already know where you're going, it's very, very powerful. And a lot of people do not understand. I remember my grandfather, someone asked a question for some reason, and this man was the most smartest man I've ever heard. I've never heard anyone say this. And they're like, hey, one of my uncles is a thief, or whatever, he died, what will he become? My grandfather said, hold on. He went into meditation, like, oh yeah, if he was a thief, he's going to become a rat his next life. And then my grandfather said, what time do rats come out? At night. And he was like, oh wow. But this is what shamans, they were very good at, or whatever, they were like the bridge between the people. Whatever, they knew they had a question. And my grandfather was like, you see those trees? These are people who watch a lot of injustice. They never said anything about it, so they're upside down.